Everyone is used to seeing Ethel Kennedy as the saintly widow, a woman robbed of her husband, her sons, and a normal life by the famous Kennedy curse. But what if this legend is just a little too convenient? What if Ethel didn't just survive the curse but took it upon herself, turning the death of Robert Kennedy into a family religion that even her own children couldn't escape? Her sister's stolen Kennedy, a house that looked like a zoo, rumors of a secret romance, a blood-soaked dress, and defending a man whom half of America linked to the murder of a 15-year-old girl. Today, we expose the dark side of the last queen of American Camelot. Fact number 1. The ultimate betrayal, stealing a Kennedy from her own sister. Usually, the girls who married into the Kennedy clan were flattered by the family's money and power, but Ethel Skakel was in a league of her own. Her father, George Skakel, started out as a simple railroad clerk making $8 a week, and by the 1940s he had built the massive coal empire, Great Lakes Carbon. Ethel grew up in a 31-room mansion in Greenwich. She had everything, and she was used to taking whatever she wanted. In the winter of 1945, at the luxurious Mont Tremblant ski resort in Quebec, 17-year-old Ethel met young Robert Kennedy. There was just one catch. Bobby was there as the official boyfriend of her older sister, Patricia Skakel. That would have stopped any other girl. But not Ethel. She launched a full-scale tactical operation, driving a wedge into their relationship with such aggression that Robert soon dumped Patricia and switched his focus to her younger sister. Ethel didn't enter the Kennedy dynasty as a humble daughter-in-law, but as a predator who had just claimed her prize. Fact number 2. A dress rehearsal for death, the crash that taught her not to cry. Many believe that death started stalking Ethel in 1968. That is a historical misconception. Tragedy entered her life 13 years before the gunshots at the Ambassador Hotel. On October 3, 1955, a private twin-engine plane carrying both of her parents crashed into the ground in Oklahoma after the pilots mistakenly switched to an empty fuel tank. The bodies were burned beyond recognition. For 27-year-old Ethel, it was a crushing blow. According to one version of events, it was on that October day that she first demonstrated the terrifying Kennedy capacity for psychological anesthesia. She forbade herself from crying in public. This plane crash became her personal rehearsal. When bullets ended her husband's life 13 years later, Ethel would already know exactly how to put on a mask of cold marble. Fact number 3. The swimming pool test that humiliated Washington's elite. In 1956, Robert and Ethel bought the famous Hickory Hill estate in Virginia. The previous owners, John and Jackie Kennedy, fled from it because the refined Jackie hated the 13-bedroom monstrosity. Ethel, however, turned it into a cross between a political headquarters and a mad circus. Archival records confirm absolutely wild things. A real sea lion named Sandy swam in the estate's pool, eating their fish supply and terrifying guests. A giant black Newfoundland named Brumus roamed the grounds, once even trapping the U.S. Secretary of Defense in a tree. But the most interesting things happened by the pool. In 1962, while Ethel was hosting, the famous historian Arthur Schlesinger was pushed into the water fully clothed. It was played off as a joke, but from the outside it looked less like a prank and more like a harsh test of submission. It's possible Ethel was testing how far people were willing to go in their own humiliation just to remain in the orbit of the Kennedy clan. Fact number 4. The Midnight Saboteur and her war with the FBI. You think Ethel just sat at home with the kids. During election campaigns, she turned into an attack dog. Today, it remains one of the most resilient political rumors in Massachusetts. They say that under the cover of night, the wife of the future U.S. Attorney General personally drove through the suburbs, ripping her competitors' campaign posters out of front lawns and tossing them into the trunk of her convertible. And when Robert took over the Justice Department, Ethel began openly mocking none other than J. Edgar Hoover, the almighty and dangerous director of the FBI. She set up a suggestion box directly across from his office. Hoover hated Ethel with a burning passion. In declassified FBI archives, hundreds of pages of dossiers show agents tracking Robert and Ethel's every move, desperately trying to find dirt on this uncontrollable woman. Fact number 5. The blood-soaked dress and Camelot's most horrifying relic. Let's go back to the night of June 5, 1968. When the shots rang out, Robert fell to the floor. Busboy Juan Romero slipped his rosary beads under his head, a historical fact rarely written about. Some of Robert Kennedy's most haunting words that night were not declarations of love. He whispered, "Is everybody okay? Is anybody else hurt?" Ethel, 3 months pregnant, dropped to her knees right in the pool of blood. Police later noted that her orange dress was soaked completely through. An almost Gothic family legend later grew around this dress. Rumor has it that Ethel could never bring herself to throw it away, keeping it hidden in a secret closet at Hickory Hill for years as the most horrifying relic in family history. Exactly 6 months after these events, she gave birth to a baby girl. They named her Rory. She never saw her father alive. Fact number 6. The singer who got too close to the Holy Widow. After Bobby's murder, the American press canonized Ethel. She was supposed to be the eternal, grieving widow in black. But behind the scenes, something strange was happening. Just months after the funeral, Ethel was constantly seen in the company of the famous pop singer Andy Williams. They had dinner together, showed up at private parties, and he constantly flew to see her at Hickory Hill. Rumors began to spread among the Washington elite. The Kennedy widow was having a passionate affair. To many, this looked like a betrayal of the saintly widow image. Critics considered it unacceptable. Supporters of the family argued the opposite. But the question remains, was it true love or a desperate, almost hysterical attempt to cling to life and hide from the maddening emptiness? Ethel herself never directly commented on these rumors. Fact number 7. The cult of Bobby's ghost. Left alone with 11 children, Ethel made a fatal decision. She turned the estate into a morbid temple for the dead Robert Kennedy. At the dining table, the father's chair remained empty. Every action, every grade in school was measured by one harsh question. Would your father be proud of you right now? This colossal, almost cult-like pressure was not survived by everyone. In 1984, her 28-year-old son David, who had watched his father's assassination live on television, was found dead in a Florida hotel from an overdose. In 1997, a new tragedy struck. Her other son, 39-year-old Michael, died in Aspen. And do you know how he died? Playing ski football on a mountain slope. It was a typical senselessly risky Kennedy pastime, something they were conditioned for since childhood, proving their fearlessness in the face of death. Fact number 8. The murder case that broke the widow myth. Perhaps the most debated and dark episode in Ethel's biography is connected not to her children, but to her nephew, Michael Skakel. In 1975, in the wealthy neighborhood of Greenwich, 15-year-old Martha Moxley was brutally beaten to death with a golf club. For decades, the case hung in the air. When investigators finally zeroed in on Ethel's nephew Michael in the early 2000s and he was convicted of the murder, Ethel Kennedy fired up the full power of the family's political machine. She publicly defended her nephew, using the clan's connections, money, and influence to get the conviction overturned. For many Americans, this was a moment of shattered illusions. The saintly Kennedy widow was willing to defend a man whom half of America linked to the murder of a 15-year-old girl, simply because he had her family's blood in his veins. For her, justice always took a back seat to protecting the Klan. Fact number 9. The last queen of Camelot took her secrets to the grave. Ethel Kennedy passed away on October 10, 2024, at the age of 96. Think about the magnitude of that number. She was born in the Jazz Age, lived through World War II, watched the 1960s swallow both her brother-in-law and her husband in public bloodshed, and buried her own parents and 2 of her sons. Her official obituary states dryly, "She leaves behind 9 living children, 34 grandchildren, and 24 great-grandchildren. But behind those numbers hides something much bigger. She wasn't just a politician's wife, she was the cement that held a crumbling empire together to the very end. When Ethel's heart stopped, the era of the old, ruthless and brilliant American Camelot died with her. Who was she? A martyr who endured more pain than almost any woman in America? Or a cold keeper of a cult who forced her children to live under the portrait of their dead father? And the ultimate question, who seems more terrifying to you? Rose Kennedy, who built the dynasty, or Ethel Kennedy, who tried to hold it together after it died? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and we'll keep exposing the most uncomfortable secrets of history's greatest dynasties.